Welcome everybody to another video of Ancient Greece Reloaded. Today we will talk about the famous Titan goddess Selene, the goddess and personification of the moon. By the way, if you like the video, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so as to stay tuned for upcoming videos. Selene was the goddess and personification of the moon, and according to Hesiod, in the Theogony, Selene was a second-generation Titan, a daughter of the Titan deities Hyperion and Theia. Hyperion was the Titan god of light, whilst Theia was the Greek goddess of sight, and so it was no surprise that the three children of this pair were Helios, the sun, Eos, the dawn, and Selene, the moon. The sun and the moon are the most prominent features of the sky, and with the moon once thought to have its own light source, the siblings, Helios and Selene, went well together. Selene, like most Greek gods and goddesses, had a Roman mythological equivalent, the goddess Luna. In Greek mythology, Selene was traditionally depicted as a beautiful young woman, with perhaps paler than usual skin. Upon the head of Selene was normally found a crown that was representative of the spherical moon. In antiquity, Selene would also often be depicted either riding upon a bull or upon a silvery chariot drawn by two winged horses. This chariot was used by the Greek goddess of the moon when each night she would traverse the night sky, just as her brother Helios did during the day. In ancient Greece, the moon was relatively important, for the passage of time would also be measured by it, the ancient Greek months being made up of 3 10-day periods based on the phases of the moons. The moon was also thought to bring forth the dew needed to nourish plants and animals. Selene was not the most prominent goddess of the Greek pantheon, and other female figures from Greek mythology were often talked of in relation to the moon. Aside from Selene, the most prominent amongst these alternatives usually were Hecate, Artemis, and Hera. Selene, though, is prominent in one particular story from Greek mythology, the story of Selene and Endymion. In one version of the Endymion myth, the central figure was a shepherd, but a shepherd with virtually unmatched beauty, for Endymion was comparable in looks to Ganymede or Narcissus. Working as a shepherd, Endymion would often be found tending his flocks at night, and so the beauty of the mortal was observed by Selene in her nightly passage. Taken by the beauty of the shepherd, Selene fell in love with him, and would long to spend eternity with Endymion. Selene though was immortal, whilst Endymion would age and die. Zeus had no desire to make Endymion immortal in the traditional sense, but instead came up with a solution where the shepherd would not age or die, and enlisted the help of Hypnos. Thus, Endymion was placed into an eternal sleep. Thereafter, Endymion would sleep in a cave upon Mount Latmos, a cave which Selene would visit every night. Endymion would sleep with his eyes open, so that he too could gaze upon his lover. The unusual relationship between Endymion and Selene would bring forth some offspring for the pair, with the Greek goddess of the moon giving birth to the Mine, the 50 goddesses of the lunar months. There were 50 Mine, for there were 50 lunar months between the Olympic Games. Endymion though was not Selene's only lover, for the goddess of the moon would have other children as well. Some writers in antiquity would write of the 4 Ore, the 4 seasons, being born to Selene after a relationship with Helios, whilst with Zeus she was said to be mother to Panthea, the beautiful goddess of the full moon, Ersa, the goddess of the morning dew, and Nemea, the nymph of the Nemean spring. On top of that, known as Selene and Endymion as the parents of the beautiful Narcissus. Selene may also have given birth to a mortal son, the father being Ephmolpos, and the son was named Museos, who was the legendary poet often connected with Orpheus. In short, depending on the source that you study, the family tree of Selene may vary. Also worth mentioning is the fact that Selene was not some damsel in distress, the exact opposite. Selene was a fighter. During the Gigantomachy, in which Gaia brought forth the giants to attack the gods, Due to the fact of being angered about her children, the Titans, being thrown into Tartarus following the defeat, Selene was very active. When Gaia heard of a prophecy that a mortal would help the gods to defeat the giants, she sought to find a herb that would make them undefeatable. Zeus heard of that and ordered Selene as well as her siblings, Helios and Eos, not to shine, and harvested all of that plant for himself. Selene was also fighting against the giants, side by side next to her siblings Helios and Eos, as well as her mother Theia. According to Nonnos, Selene faced off against Typhoon, when the gigantic monster Typhoon laid siege against the heavens. Instead of running away, Selene fought back, and apart from some minor injuries, she made it out alive. In simple terms, goddess Selene kicked ass. On another account, Ambelos was a very beautiful satyr. One day, in Nonnos' account, Ambelos rode on a bull and proceeded to compare himself to Selene, saying that he was her equal, having horns and riding bulls just like her. The goddess took offense and sent a gadfly to sting Ambelos' bull. The bull panicked, threw down Ambelos and gored him to death. Selene is also connected in some way to Heracles. When Zeus desired to sleep with the mortal queen Alcmene and sire Heracles, he made the night last 3 days and ordered Selene, via Hermes, to dawdle in the sky during that time. Finally, Virgil states that Selene and Pan had a tryst with each other, when Pan, the player, was able to seduce her for a bit. And Ovid mentions how in the myth of Phaethon, when Phaethon lost control of the chariot and burned the earth, Selene in the sky looked down to see in amazement her brother's horses running wild lower than normal. That being said, let us finish with the following saying: there is nothing greater or equal to love, Menador. That being said, remember guys to hit the like button and to subscribe to our channel, it would help us a lot. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for upcoming videos.